like we do it, like we do it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Monday. No pause on that because this bitch knows what day it is today. It's actually funny because Ashley's like, I love when you pause. And I'm like, no, I genuinely sometimes forget what day it is because I live in the Bravo world and we don't have days. It's just weeks and months. And listen, guys, this morning before we end up bringing up our special guest, Ashley from Taste of Reality, I decided that I'm on this and this is not about me. We're getting into hot, messy topics. I decided I was going to be on this health kick, right? So I'm like, I'm going to do better. I'm not going to eat bagel breakfast sandwiches every morning, and I'm going to do 2 workouts a day. This morning, I went to do Pilates and F45. So like Pilates and then lifting weights. Holy shit. Can I say I have so much respect? I was in a class full of all women. I don't know how the hell you bend and contort that way. I don't even know what you're doing. I'll be back tomorrow. But I got my ass kicked. So if you guys want to work out, it is Pilates. Now, with that, guys, we have so much to talk about. Today's a really fun day. We ended up announcing our podcast last week with Monica Garcia, the Salty Podcast. So anywhere you go to get your podcast, you can go to Up and Adam. It is going to be under my podcast as episodes for now. We're going to kind of see what goes on, how it goes. Today was the first episode that dropped, and so far the feedback is absolutely incredible. So in the meantime, get activated in the live chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Smash the like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And let's welcome our girl, Ashley. Hello.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Oh, got hurting?
Hurting? Well, that's good. The good kind of pain. I love Pilates too.
Wait, I never have done it. And the woman was like, okay, everyone, now we're going to go into the catfish. And I'm like looking around and I'm like, what the fuck is the catfish? And like my ass was like gyrating. Like it looked like I was twerking.
Yeah.
It was like bouncing because like the muscles were like freaking out like they've never done anything before. And I looked at her and I said, I am so sorry to throw all of this cake at you right now. But this is like, she is thick. There's a lot. And my body is not used to this. And the rest of the girls, you know, we're just like, oh, we'll be fine. And just like doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to say what everyone else is thinking. Turn around and show us that ass. Like, we want to see you turn around and drop it and pop it like it's hot.
You know, what's funny is when Jason and I just went to Orlando, he took a photo of me from behind where I was just like being silly. And I was like, well, whatever, I'll just post it on social media, like on Instagram stories. And I posted it and he was like, no. Absolutely not. He's like, we were about to launch a new company and this is not how we are portraying ourselves. You are not on OnlyFans. And I was like, oh, that underwear see-through. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Put it on OnlyFans. You'll make some good cash.
I was like, we're not doing that. No. We're 31 and married. We've been in a relationship for 10. I'll leave OnlyFans for the ones who can really, really pull it off. And I'll leave Pilates for the ones that can pull it off. But in the meantime, I'll look like an asshole trying. So
yes.
Great. All right. Well, today's an exciting day.
Yes. There's so much to talk about in the world.
Oh my God.
And by world, I mean Bravosphere.
Yeah. Like I'm excited. One, again, like I told you guys, I'm excited about the Salty Podcast, but also there's so many other Bravo topics right now. I don't even know where to begin. So I think I'm just going to throw things at you.
Perfect.
And I'm going to see how you feel.
Let's do it.
All right. So obviously we know, guys, that Jax Taylor has recently checked out of the inpatient mental health treatment facility. Now, I never want to sit there and make fun or light of anybody going into a mental health facility. And also, I know Jax, and he does need mental health treatment. But also, I probably do too. So I'm not just like throwing shade at him. We probably both do. But he checked out. He went with Daniel Bucco to go get a haircut. And while he was in the facility, he ended up, I guess, being hit with the news at some point that Brittany took over Jax's Studio City. Maybe the beer cheese and the pretzels were just a little bit better that night. I don't know.
It couldn't have gotten any worse. As somebody who's been to Jax Studio City, the beer cheese and the pretzel were very disappointing. So if they're going to remodel and make it Brits, let's hope that we can like upgrade the whole experience, because Jax's was lacking. It felt like a bar that's owned by a person who hates bartending. as evidenced by Jack on Vanderpump Rules. He hated bartending. And I would love to see it turn into Brits. And I love the prank. I thought it was very funny. And Brittany has gone through it in this relationship. She has earned the right to be petty. She has earned the right to behave as however she wants. And best of luck to her now that Jax is out. I bet it was a nice month for her.
Well, Zach Wickham, who's also one of the Valley friend of, he's one of the, I'm going to call him a co-star because he's just as much, he's on every episode just like everybody else. He's a friend of because he's not, he has a picture. He's in it.
Yeah, he's a full-time cast member, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah, but they call him a friend of role, which the point is the guy is still contributing to the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
in a big way.
You know how like, it's like almost like a hierarchy, like, like it's like when Shannon was like, Alexis is not a housewife, she's a friend of. Like, it's the shade. And in that moment, I'm like, that's right, girl, you are a friend of. But in this moment for Zach, I'm like, no, Zach, we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you, you shady little bitch.
I think he has major character, or excuse me, main character energy. I love Zach. I think he's a great character and he rides hard for Britt, and I love to see it.
Zach is a shit stirring like bitch, but I say that as like a friend, like somebody, and we're not friends like that. We're friends in like passing. And when I say he's a shit stirring bitch, let me just like clarify for you guys in the live chat. I mean that in like the best possible way. Like I can see where he would be great reality TV because he's messy as hell, but he is a loyal friend. There was one time where him and Brittany got into an argument. I was working at TomTom. I forgot what the argument was about, but him and Brittany got into an argument and Zach got unhinged and I'm guessing maybe had a couple drinks or whatnot. And he ended up going on Twitter and reaming Brittany and Jax. And then Jax had Brittany sort of disassociate from Zach, which Brittany ended up bringing Zach from Kentucky to LA.
Right.
So there's a whole history here, but he's been around for a long time. He's gone in and out of the group. And at the end of the day, he ended up sticking up for Brittany because there was a user on Instagram who posted this. Brittany, 2 wrongs don't make a right. If you're truly unhappy, just leave him, and rightfully so with how you've been treated. But don't sink to this kind of game to impress Instagram or people who want to make you stir the pot. Your husband clearly has mental issues. Either find ways to heal and work with him or leave. You are very clearly an amazing woman and have a heart of gold for years. And this does not seem like something that your mind would conjure up. Your family and child are more important than this. Your son's dad needs your support, whether it's as a wife or simply as a co-parent. Sorry, guys, this writing is so small. And then Zach ended up entering the chat saying, I did this. I came up with it. We wanted to make her feel special for a night when she is going through so much. Her priority is cruise every moment of every day, and my priority is to make sure that my best friend makes it through this tumultuous time in her life, being fully supported and uplifted. Sorry, my eyes blurred. That's what this night was about. You guys know nothing about what is going on, so please stop bringing Brittany into your hateful comments and direct them towards me. Thank you. Zach Wickham has entered the chat.
We love to see it. Sticking up for his friend.
I mean, honestly, I was even saying this too. For people who don't know, when they start filming these shows, producers show up like 3 weeks to 4 weeks in advance. They get into their hotels. They start looking at all of the different locations, figuring out what the best lighting is going to be. They have production crew A, production crew B. It is a lot that goes into this. There's usually about 27 to 32 members of the production team. And by the end of it, they start piecing together storyboards, which the storyboards actually go into the season once things happen that they couldn't have predicted. And then they have to start moving pieces around like on a chessboard. So for them doing this, this is great TV. You know, you took over Jax's. It's not the end of the world. It's grandmama's, mama's, beer, cheese, and pretzel. Brittany has a stake in the claim, okay?
And you know what? Jax can just go ahead and rot in hell.
Not rotten
Can we
hell.
talk about that wallpaper?
What?
I kind of am obsessed with that wallpaper, but it gives me major Golden Girls vibes. Like I feel like it would be like on the lanai on Golden Girls, and I love it.
Is that Jax's?
Yeah, that's the private, well, not the private room, but there's like an indoor room and then there's like an indoor area, and that's like the smaller indoor area.
My God. Well, I'll probably never be invited in there since I've been blocked by Jax, but so have you, but that didn't stop you.
Oh yeah, no. Jax, honestly, it's like a rite of passage at this time. Like, Jax has just kind of blocked all of us. But if I could just say to Brittany, if you're out there, like, could you unblock us? Like, we love you at Taste of Reality, and we got blocked in 2020, and it was about Jax. And, we'd appreciate you unblocking us because we love you. And we're on your team.
I told Lisa Vanderpump that he blocked me. And I was like, how are you? Good, because every once in a while I'll reach out to Pandora and see how Teddy is and how like they are. And my relationship with them was always like, I'm here, they're there, like Kelly Ben Simone and Bethany Frankel. I always knew my place.
Ooh.
I told you about the time that they pulled up to me at a red light, right? Or no?
No, I'm dying now, please.
My God, I'm sorry, guys. My mind is like ADD. So I'm leaving Tom one night. Lisa was there with Ken and Nick Elaine and his wife, because Nick Elaine and his wife were the ones who designed all of like the beautiful fixtures for Tom and a lot of the Vegas restaurants, right? And after that, she went over to Pump. They all went over to Pump to grab a drink. Well, I got off of my shift. I'm driving my Honda Civic, which I was so happy with. It was my brand new lease. And I pull up to a red light, and here comes this Bentley right next to me. The top's off, and I'm like just playing my music, and it's like, I don't even know what the fuck it was, but I look over and I hear, Adam, is that you? And I was like, yeah, hi. I said, oh, hi. And they're like, oh my God, hi, where are you going? And I said, I'm going home. And she's like, what is that? And I was like, what's what? And she's like, that. And I said, my car? And she's like, yeah, what is that? Like a foreign model. And I'm like, you, Lisa.
Oh, that's so shady.
I'm like, you know exactly what the fuck it is, Lisa. You know what it is.
Oh, that's so funny. See, and I love the British humor of it all. And I know it doesn't track with everybody, but I love Lisa Vanderpump. That story hits. I just watched her show that she did with Gordon Ramsay.
Oh my God, funny.
Dude, that show was great. And I love their banter. They were great together.
And it's so funny too, because you can tell that he's incredibly inappropriate with that British humor as well, but he knows how to take it down for cable TV. Yep. And she still comes in with some little zingers, and he's like, okay, enough of that. And she's like, what did I say? I'm like,
well, he knows that she'll be able to get away with it and he won't. And I love that. I love the dynamic. They were great together. I hope they do more.
Listen, like, I can't get offended by it. Even when she said, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. It's what I can afford. You're the one who's paying me. So
exactly. Hi.
You want to give me a raise?
Yeah, this is a representation of what I get paid, just so you know.
Yeah, do you want me to put a Bentley emblem on it? And then Ken was like, ah, and presses the gas and goes off.
Leaves you in a cloud of dust.
I called Jason and I was like, this is so fucked up. You have no idea. But it was the funniest moment. Listen, there's no hard feelings. I love it. I live for it. But going back to the Valley, guys, they have been filming. I cannot wait to see. I still don't know. I haven't even reached out to I'm going to reach out to Sheena actually while we're on this. I still don't know if Sheena, actually, no, there's no point. She's not going to tell me if Sheena is fully filming, because the rumor is that she's fully filming and that Lala has come on to the Valley as more of a reduced role because she's going to be pregnant. Obviously, you know that in the Bravo verse, we have a lot of rumors, but I want to hear what you think. Like, do you believe any of this or no?
I mean, they filmed last season too. I don't know if it's going to be a contractually bigger thing, but I don't think it's a secret that they've been filming. I wouldn't be surprised if Jax lost his ever-loving mind in his treatment facility, hearing that they were filming more, because he went on the record saying, hey, we don't need them. We don't want them. Leave Vanderpump Rules to Vanderpump and leave us to ourselves. We created this. He probably said, I created this, because that's how he believes it to be. But yeah, the people don't overwhelmingly seem to want Lala or Sheena. But in their defense, I feel that Brittany, we can connect with Brittany and Lala and Sheena over what's going on with Jax because of the history so much more than we can with, Janet or Michelle or any of the other, well, Kristen obviously knows Jax and the history, but I think those are going to be more valuable conversations about Jax rather than the new cast. For me personally, I'm more interested in their take because they have history with him. Oh no, I lost your sound.
Oh, sorry.
There you
I
go.
said, and honestly, the cast has so much to talk about already, like with Michelle, Lawley, and Jesse in this divorce. And then Daniel Bucco and whatever is going on with him and his wife that Jax was alluding to. But then Jax and Brittany, and Jax potentially seeing this Bachelorette alum. But then we also have Jasmine, who is now introducing her partner more and more, which is exciting.
Yes.
So I'm here for it. I think that there's enough storyline without the Vanderpump Rules cast. But if we're going to implement them in, then I would love to see a different side of the Vanderpump Rules cast. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
like not the same shit.
It's come on. Like what we're doing right now isn't working. The Valley's working, I think, just fine, but the Vanderpump Rules model has been stale for a while, and it's time for something new.
Time for
and
something
I love
new.
Vanderpump Rules. Like I'm a day oneer. Like I've loved Vanderpump Rules. My husband has been dragged to all the restaurants. Like I go hard for Vanderpump. So I want it to continue. I want it to be successful, but I think something definitely needs to change.
When I first started working at SUR, Natalie Puelli, who is Guillermo Zapata's wife, who is Lisa and Ken's business partners, I came in. Have I told you this story?
I don't think so.
I came in for an interview because Sheena came into, I was working at Malibu Fish Grill with her husband, Mike Shea. He ended up getting fired from behind the bar.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, not good stuff. But she was like, why are you working here? You should come work at SUR. So like an asshole, I go to this interview and I sit down. She gets me the interview and she's like, so who do you know? Because if you're at SUR and you don't know somebody, 9 times out of 10, you're not getting it. Like they're very protective. So you have to know somebody. Somebody has to vouch for you. And I said, I know Shayna. Yeah, I do. I know Shayna real well. And Natalie looked at me like, who? I said, Shayna. I know that bitch. And I know her real well. And she was like, okay, well, we'll be calling you. And I got a call saying that I could work the dish pit. So I was like, okay. I just moved to LA. I'm practically living out of my car, had no money. And I said, you know what? A job is a job. I had my internship. The first day that I went to walk in to go to this dish pit, the manager ended up saying, who are you? And it was Peter. And I was like, hi, I'm here to do dishes. And he was like, no, you're going to answer the phones. Can you answer a phone? And I said, yeah, I can answer a phone. So I was then at that point answering the phones. And then that night their host called out. And then I became the first guy host to ever work at SUR because they put me on the floor and I literally lit that shit up because my whole background was hospitality.
Right.
I was willing to like start off in the muck, you know?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. You know, I'm never too good for anything. But just even going back and looking at those times, I'm like, man, it's even when I said to Lisa, I said, these were some of the best moments of my life. And if you wouldn't have opened this restaurant or you wouldn't have started these things, I wouldn't have those. I wouldn't have met my husband at Pump. So for her, I'm just so incredibly grateful. Call me biased. I don't care. It is what it is.
Well, and I think your story lends to why we need to do something different with Vanderpump Rules. They were all broke. They all lived in apartments. They were all hustling to, make a couple $100 every night. And now they all have houses. They're married. They have children. They don't even go to these restaurants anymore, let alone work in them. Like, I think we've lost the plot line and we just need to take a step back. And I don't remember where I saw it, but somebody posted like, hey, they're filming Vanderpump Rules with an all new cast. And I just hope it's true. I've heard that's true. I was at SUR recently and I believe it. I believe that they do have a whole new cast that they're prepping for television. I saw that rumor and I was like, yeah, that slaps. That totally tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And I don't know if they're ever going to redo it. I don't honestly, to be fair, Jason and I have talked about this a few times and Pump was the main breadwinner for Villa Blanca. Pump kept Villa Blanca afloat because Villa Blanca was not, I don't think they were hitting. I mean, let me put this in a way that's not like defamatory, obviously. Villa Blanca was on a street that had a very, very high rent, you guys.
Mhm.
So in order to keep Villa Blanca alive, it cost a lot of money. They were right there in the heart of Beverly Hills. And so Pump was a restaurant that was making tons and tons of money in West Hollywood with a much lower rent. And I think that they were offsetting a lot of the things that was going on with Villa Blanca from what I heard. I don't know. I can't confirm that. But just the way that they were navigating it, you know, and anyways, back to it. Listen, I could talk about some Lisa Vanderpump all day, but I do want to switch this over. I want to keep it on the West Coast because I have another question for you. I don't know how much you're covering it, but I got to pick your brain on it.
Just don't pick my nose.
Okay. Well, you don't got to worry about that. Look, I have the same face he has right now, except I'm not looking at prison. So, yeah, no, I don't feel bad for him. But Tom Girardi, trial. He ended up taking the stand. Can I give you my conspiracy?
Please, I love a good. Let me put on my tinfoil hat.
Okay. My conspiracy is that his defense team put him on that stand or allowed him to go on that stand because they wanted him to look even more incompetent. So when the prosecutor and the people were asking him, like, is Girardi Keys still around? He's like, yeah, we still are open and all of these things. And he's like, I don't know who you are, but please be nice to me. I'm like, man, I want to believe you so bad, Mr. Tom Girardi, but this is the perfect crime. And I got a real hard time. Like the burglars, the driving your car off the side of a mountain, you skid in the snow, some other shit happened. You took tons of money allegedly, but then he said, I didn't take money from anyone. A lot of my clients, the ones who won settlements, they were addicted to drugs and other things. So I felt it was best that I hold on to their money and allocate it appropriately. That's not your job.
That's not the job. That's absolutely not what they signed up for. I feel like it was very manipulative to have him be seen because he is in such a delicate state. I mean, look at him. I mean, that is not a well man. You can even just tell by his face that he's just not all there. And I think it was very performative for them to have him in public like that. And from the way he sounds, it's shocking that they're even having him in the first place. Like his mental ability doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I feel like, do you think it's going to be a guilty verdict?
There seems to be a lot of evidence. I mean, if there's evidence, yeah, I don't see why not. And there seems to be a ton of evidence, a lot of missing money and a lot of victims. I think that it's going to be hard for him to avoid all the charges. What do you think?
I kind of think that too, but I also heard from somebody who was an attorney that they don't think that they would put him in prison, that they would let him like just finish the rest of his life in the facility that he's in, because it would maybe cost more to navigate prison in that way for him. I'm not really sure how that works, but I did go back and watch a clip today of Erica Girardi sitting down with the victims. Do you remember when she did that like whole publicity stunt?
Yes.
And she sat down with the victims, and one of the victims was so afraid to ask her. She was like, I don't have anything. And Erica was like, what do you want from me? And she was like, is there any way that you can allow your platform and help me? And I thought in my mind, like just thinking about, I guess, from somebody who comes from like, man, and again, this is not about me, but my parents, like my whole life, I grew up broke, you know, my family was so broke and like fighting to survive, to put food on the plate and all of the other stuff. And then when she looked at the victim and said, you know, as a celebrity, I have a certain platform, and sure, like if you just ask, I can help. I'm looking at her like, God, you don't know. You really have, maybe you did back in the day, but some people always like, some people have the ability to go through the fame process or making money, or they have a success story, whether it's a business or whatever, and they know where their roots are, where they came from, and how to navigate it, and they don't forget that. And some people just get to a different place where it's like, I don't associate with people like you. And Erica really reads like, she really reads like you were not a dancer in a club. And watching it, I'm like, guys, this is, to me, it's just so jerking. Like, I'm like, I can't watch this. I look at her like, you come off like such an asshole.
She's just so mean-spirited.
It's so
Ugh.
mean-spirited. Just especially looking at the people who are like she's like, I'm struggling. I'm like, girl, no, you're not. You're in a 15, 10, 12, 15, doesn't fucking matter. Double digits a month place to live, to rent, with a casita in the back and a pool. And it's right there in the middle, like the heart of LA. That is not struggling. You want to know struggling? It
Yeah,
ain't that.
yeah, she's in LA. She sees enough people struggling on the side of the roads there. Trust me, you have to drive by a lot of people struggling to get to the neighborhood of which Erica Jane resides. So let's just put that there. The fact that she is so disconnected. And I feel like that's a big thing with the housewives and kind of one of the reasons why we love them. I love the fact that these housewives are so disconnected with the rest of the world and how we live. But at the same time, when you're facing victims, when you're facing when you're wearing earrings per se that came from victims, you're literally wearing blood diamonds, essentially. Maybe not
That's what
literal
they call
blood
them.
diamonds, but yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. It's just not right. And she handled it so poorly, even if it was a legal thing and she couldn't talk about it because of the fact that she was in litigation. She could have just said, I wish I could talk about it. I cannot. We'll talk about this when I can. If she would have just said that, I can't talk about it right now, but she was just yelling at people and screaming, and she had the like she was like yelling through grit, her gritted teeth. It was a lot. It was a lot from Erica Jane.
It was a lot from Erica Jane. And also, I've said this since day one, and I understand that there's a whole legal process that I don't understand. So I understand that I don't understand the complete legalities of it all, right? I get it, you guys. But then watching her and seeing how she's maneuvered, if it were me, and it's not, I'm not her, so it's easy for me to say, I'm not under the same pressure, I would have written a book. I would have given 100% back to the victims. I would have taken my show money and given 100% back to the victim. I would have done something where it shows like, this is my effort, not a complete PR stunt. And then one of the women, one of the victims or parents of the victims who was a part of the Girardi cases, and also the documentary, The Housewife and the Hustler, she literally came out later and said that Erica's PR team reached out, knew that they were doing an event, and asked if she could come and have this sit down for cameras. So then it makes me even more like, this feels like we're putting on a show. You know what I mean?
That it feels like a production, and I don't like it. I don't like it, especially when victims are human beings. This isn't a victimless crime, and it doesn't feel good. And I used to love Erica Jane back in the beginning. She gave us glamour. She gave us, eccentric, her attitude was out there, and it was fun. It was glamorous. It became so dirty and so toxic and mean. I think, and I'm a old school Lisa Rinna fan. I loved Melrose Place. I watched Days of Our Lives growing up. Like, I'm a big Rinna girl, but Rinna also changed a lot on the show. Rinna was a great housewife for a long time. And then I think it's so into like creating drama, producing their own storylines, making good TV, that they lose track of the fact that it's reality. And we want to see what is real and not these manufactured storylines of what they think we want to see.
Well, speaking of reality, we're about to take this to the East Coast, guys. Over 600 in the room. Smash the like button. Show some love. A new report just came out. Oy, oy, oy. Let me just bring this shit up. A new report came out from the Real Housewives in New Jersey saying that Melissa Gorga Joe Gorga, Teresa Giudice, Louis Ruelas, that now they are starting to understand the ramifications of their extremely exhausting seasons, the last two at least, that they have put out there. And they see that the money might disappear. Dolores Catania recently just came out in an interview. I think it was on Two Teas in a Pod or Jeff Lewis Live. I'm not sure. But she recently came out in an interview saying that she had to reach out to her accountant to see how to budget appropriately, because you got to think about it, guys. They film for 3.5 months and they get anywhere from like somebody like Dolores, who's been on the show, to somebody like Teresa. They're receiving anywhere from like $700,000 to $1.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a huge fucking income to be taken away from you. So now the new report claims, and I want to know if you think this is true, claims that Melissa and Teresa are willing to put this shit aside in order to get New Jersey back to where it was, so they don't do a total reboot. What are your thoughts?
We've done the show with Teresa and Melissa forever, and they've been feuding what feels like forever. I'm over the dynamic personally, but I think they would lose so many viewers if they redid the show completely. And being that Teresa, I think if Bravo let her go, she would be picked up by another network. #WeTV. They have all those prison shows like Love After Lockup, this, that, and the other. I say that seriously and shadily. Like, that was a double entendre, but like, she could go to WeTV and have a huge career. And I think Bravo knows that. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that they would put this aside. Teresa even recently said that she would put things aside with Joe. I don't know if she would be as kind to Melissa, but I think that I see it happening. I think this show is so important to everybody that they would go against everything that they've said for the last several years about, you know, cutting each other off and we're never talking again. Like, they need this. They don't have anything outside of this show. Let's be completely honest.
It's kind of, you know, when Monica and I, again, not to even like put a plug in here, but we just put the first episode of Salty Podcast out today, right? So not to put a plug in here, but I'm putting a plug in here. And she made a good point, you know, it got to a point where the women came together and said, it's us or Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were Bravo, I would have totally called the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, okay, so we're recasting you guys. Because they did the same thing to her at BravoCon. They said, if she goes to BravoCon, we will not go to BravoCon. She went to BravoCon. Guess who was there? The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, they separated them 100%. And we talk about this in the podcast. But I think when you give ultimatums like that, you're playing with fire, because it's like you're trying to like draw your line in the sand, but be careful, because these are the people who are responsible for your paycheck. That really, really beautiful $5, $6, $7 million home you're living in with a hefty ass mortgage. Yeah.
Those things go away.
Those things go away. You know, like Sheena, and I think you and I talked about it, Sheena and Lala buying their $3 million homes and then having their Palm Springs homes and then trying to make sure that they can afford those mortgages without a show's pay. Like, those things, like, they affect you. There's not a world where it wouldn't affect you. If tomorrow I had YouTube taken away from me and my podcasts and all of the things, I mean, listen, I'm not jaded. I could get behind a bar in 2 seconds and make a pump teeny. You know what I mean? I can figure this shit out. But I would feel it, and I would never say that I wouldn't. And I would never try to give somebody an ultimatum thinking that, like, okay, I just wouldn't even gamble with my wallet, my bank account like that. So the fact that they do, it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, I always just think, like, if anybody's ever had like a quote unquote real job, the idea of saying I'm not going to work with that person is literally insane. Literally insane. Like, I've always hated 90% of the people that I work with. And that's mostly me because I just don't like people, but I do, but then I don't. I get tired. It's a whole thing. But yeah, no, it would be nice to say, you know what? I'm just not going to come in today if so-and-so is going to be here. I'm just not going to get this done today because so-and-so's present. It's like, that's just not, again, like how out of touch are you? And I think I said this last time we chatted, with the exception of Heather and the fact that there are lawsuits, there's no reason not to film with Monica. Sorry, girls, love my Salt Lake City girls, but they shouldn't have done an ultimatum. I don't like that.
They shouldn't have done an ultimatum. You know, it is funny too, because it takes me back to working at Ruby Tuesdays during college. And I got my brother a job. Him and his girlfriend ended up breaking up. He was living in Alabama. He came to stay with me in Tennessee. I got him a job, a scholarship. He ended up going to college with me. Really, really fun. And there was this guy who, I think his name was Randall. Of course it was. And his name was Randall or something like that. And it was an open kitchen concept. And my brother was cooking behind the line. And the guy got mad because the food was messed up. So he took a thing of water and splashed it across the open kitchen in my brother's face. And my brother grabs with a full hand a piece of chicken cutlet and reaches through the open kitchen and slaps the hell out of the guy in the face with the chicken cutlet.
Oh my gosh.
They both got suspended. I'm not laughing because it's violence is funny. I'm laughing because it's like, you can't write this shit. And
wow.
it was
I have
just
to ask, was the chicken cutlet cooked or was it raw
cooked.
meat? Thank
it was
God,
somebody's meal.
Okay, thank goodness it was cooked because we don't need a salmonella incident. But
No.
yeah, I don't condone violence, but
He got splashed in the face. My brother went like this. And I remember watching and I looked at the guy and I'm like, my brother's legitimately bipolar. Like, why would you do? And then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, Aaron, no. And I see a chicken cutlet coming through and it goes, and I was like, you asked for that, bitch.
Yeah.
You asked for that. You got it.
You did this.
Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
So sorry. Nobody wanted you to get slapped with a chicken cutlet, but okay. Here we are. I also wanted to ask because Frank Catania said that Brittany Maslock ended up denying a role on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Is that somebody that you would like to see on the show or no?
I'm going to say something that I know you and I are not on the same page on. I know you love the Jersey guys. I'm not a fan. I
Frank?
He's I guess I would say he's my favorite of the bunch. I do like Evan. I think Evan's a real one, but I don't enjoy watching the guys hang out. I don't enjoy the dynamic between the guys. They all like just have to like, every time we see the guys hang out, it just starts off with them all taking shots. Like, we're grown adults. Like, do we have to take shots to be able to have fun? Like, it just, I'm not a fan. I think maybe, I'm not saying no to Brittany. I just don't love seeing the men on the show. So it just means that, like, if we see Brittany, that just means there's going to be more Frank, and I'm good on the guys. But Frank is my favorite of the guys, I would say, and I'm very happy for him and Brittany. And I think it's such a weird and interesting dynamic that they have with Dolores that I will forever be fascinated by. So yeah, I think I would like to see that, since the guys aren't going to go anywhere. Like, we're not going to have the women and not have the guys. So to answer your question, yes, I would like to see Brittany.
Well, Frank,
would you?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Every time I see her, she's very quiet. It's like, but I don't mind her. I don't mistake her silence for like weakness. I can totally see where she's like, this is your ex-wife's thing. Mm-hmm. We are here to support, and it's not my show. I don't need to show out for this. So I look at it like kind of out of respect. Mm-hmm. Like, she knows the role. You know what I mean? She knows this is Dolores's thing. And I think that's also a part of the reason. And the fact that I think she realizes that Frank and Dolores have such a great co-parenting relationship at this point, and I'm sure it took a lot of time to get to that. I think that she doesn't want to jeopardize that, which makes her even more of just like somebody who I admire, I guess.
I respect the hell out of that. Definitely.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah. 100. Yeah, I think I agree with your point. And if we saw more of her, that would be great, but it's not her thing. And maybe she doesn't want to do it. And we saw what happened when Melissa joined the cast with Teresa. So we wouldn't want to add poor Brittany to this and have some sort of situation. I don't think, Dolores and Teresa are not the same, but yeah, not if it's going to cause any friction. And I don't know. Just because she's with Frank doesn't mean at all that she wants to be on the show. So has she ever said anything about her desire to be on, or?
No, Frank said that they offered her a full-time role or like a friend of, or they offered her a role in some capacity and that she turned it down. So
That's interesting because I know the guys, I think it was Frank recently who was on a podcast or did an interview, and he said that the guys don't get paid. The husbands do not get paid to be on the show.
which is the longest standing rumor.
Yeah, he confirmed it. They will get paid to go to BravoCon. They get a lot of opportunities, the comedy shows. Yes, I did comedy shows in air quotes. All those promotional things, like they will get paid for that, but they do not, he said they do not get paid to be on TV, which is wild to me. And we know Brock doesn't on Vanderpump Rules. I'm sorry. I don't care if I'm dating, married, whatever. If you're not paying me, I'm not going on TV.
Well, but then you know what happens is that they're jeopardizing their wives or their spouses or their persons. Like Sheena gets threatened. If Brock doesn't film with Sheena, then she gets a demoted role or like not a friend of, because they don't really do friend of on Vanderpump Rules. What they do is they do either salary where it's the set pay. So whether you're in an episode or you're not in an episode, you get paid the same. Or they do episodic, where it's like, you better make sure you're in the episode, because if you're not getting paid for that episode. And then at the end of the year or the end of the season, they tally all of that up and they pay you a small little bit at the beginning, and then they pay you the second part at the end. So for something like that, you know, Brock looks at Sheena like, oh shit, she's the breadwinner.
She's the cash cow, 100.
I have to commit. But even with, so I kind of, before we end up moving off from New Jersey, I feel like I already know where your mind is going to go with this, but Frank did hint at the fact that him and the guys could potentially have a show in the works. You're not into it.
No, like they're like a bunch of like creepy uncles to me. Like, why are you so loud? Why are you constant? Like, no, I don't like the energy. It's toxic in my opinion. I don't like that like bro feeling. I'm not comfortable in surroundings like that. I'm okay with it. A lot of people would enjoy it. I'm happy for them. I don't think they should not have a show because of my opinion. I think more people would want it than not. So go ahead and do it. People want it. It's just not for me. And that's okay. I don't have to like everything. We don't always have to agree.
Even when I met Joe, like Joe is that guy, you guys, though. Like when I met him at Tamara and Teddy's thing at BravoCon, like he was like, come here, you sexy little motherfucker. And like grab my face. And I was like looking up like, he's a little big motherfucker. Like he's big. He's little, but he's big, you know?
Big energy in a little package.
Yeah, big energy in a little package with maybe a big package. I don't know. But but he was like, open your mouth, and like pouring vodka down my mouth. And I looked at Jason, and Jason's like, oh. And I was like, this is gonna be the best night ever.
Oh my gosh. That's interesting energy. And I've been told that I can come across very forward, potentially manic at times, but I've never force fed anybody alcohol, except when I was bartending, and that was a different story.
No, I've never force fed anybody alcohol. If anything, I'm like, why the fuck are you touching that bottle? Did you pay for it? You pay rent in this house? You paying to keep the lights on and whatnot? Oh, no, you're not? Leave the fucking bottle alone.
Put the bottle down, baby.
Put the champagne down. No, because that's all I drink. Because I'm very Heather Dubrow in that way. Like if I drink, it's champagne.
Oh, we love the champs.
We love the champs. We love the champs. Okay, moving on, guys. We're moving on from the Real Housewives in New Jersey. I wanted to ask about another thing, and I know that we're getting sick of this, but... Oh my god. So the NSFW, what does that mean, by the way?
Not suitable for work.
Wow. The fuck does that have to do with like a
Like,
X-rated video?
don't like show it at work. Like, hey, I'm not going to be in my cuticle being like, hey, did you see what Brandy did to, or what Andy did to Brandy? And I just love Andy and Brandi together. Andy, Brandy, Andy. It's so cute. Hate the fact that they're feuding. Let's throw Candy in there. Candy, Brandy, and Andy.
I can't.
I'm Dr. Seuss of Housewives. I'm sorry.
Okay, so thank you for educating me on
That's it. I had to look that up. I did look that one up years ago because I was like, what the heck? Like, it didn't make sense, but that's what it is.
My God, you should have seen. I've looked up a lot of terms, and sometimes when I find out what they are, I'm like, oh, like you would think I'm like some like lady, like real, just
clutching your pearls,
classy bitch in Charleston, and like my $10 million, like you would think I'm Miss Patricia. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe they said that. But really, in the background, I'm like,
they said that. Yeah,
they said that.
That just happened
With Andy and Brandi, because we
God.
like the rhyming. Andy and Brandi, I saw where a lot of fans in the very beginning were like, this is absolutely disgusting. And they were calling for the firing of Andy Cohen. Now, fans since then have really come out in droves. And they're like, obviously, this is a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's inappropriate,
mm-hmm.
but he was joking. And she has done 10 times worse. So we don't care. We're still Team Andy. And she recently posted a photo of herself like this. And she shows all body. You can't even see my sweat stains in the black. She shows all body and she's like, and while she's showing the body, she's like, guys, I had no choice but to sue. Now, my question for you is there one person who's more in the wrong in this situation, I guess?
Honestly, Andy's the one who started it. I mean, and I'm not against Andy. What he did was inappropriate. It would never fly in any other workplace. With that said, Brandy is an unreliable narrator. So it's not like she has this reputation of being a stand-up person who makes great choices. So the whole thing feels really slippery and slimy from her because she's just trying to get out of the situation she's in with Carolyn Manzo from that season of Ultimate Girls Trip that we will probably never see. Brandy's got to be spending so much money with this lawsuit. Like, it is so expensive to sue somebody. I don't know what she thinks she's going to get out of it, if it's worth it.
It has to be pro bono.
What was that?
I think it's pro bono.
Okay, well, that makes sense. But still, like, going through something like that is so stressful. Like, she's putting herself through a lot. So she means business. I mean, I don't think she's going to let up on him, but I don't know how far it'll go.
I think that for this, I see where fans are turning. And my thing with Brandi Glanville was, and I think I said this last week, I kind of find it to be like if it were any other housewife who's not been in trouble for negative behavior or touching people, like Joyce Girard, you can't swim because you're this, and like the Caroline Manzo getting in trouble with the potential lawsuit. Well, there's a lawsuit, and then the Marco, a lawsuit. It's like
she slapped LVP. I mean, she's a problem.
You slapped LVP. Who? I could never imagine slapping LVP. Like I'm not gonna sleep on Ken. That man might be in his 70s, I don't even know what age he is. If you mess with his wife, he will beat your ass. And
we love him for it.
I would never imagine. I wouldn't even like grab her hand and be like, Lisa. Like, just I wouldn't. But like for Brandi, there were no bounds for it. But she always said that she was rewarded for this bad behavior. And maybe she was. I'm not sure. Obviously, she got seasons after seasons. And then after she was off of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, what I heard was the cast didn't want to film with her. They brought her on Ultimate Girls Trip. They wanted to base the show around her, Phaedra, and Vicky. Those were going to be the 3 returning ones on Ultimate Girls Trip. And then obviously this happened. And her argument is that I was rewarded for a long time to be this way. And then all of a sudden, when the going got tough and things like came out, Bravo and the network left me behind. But
Mhm.
Stassi Schroeder also said when she was fired that she was rewarded for so long for being a certain way. You remember?
Mhm.
But she had the ability to come back and be like, I'm not even going to lead with that foot. What I'm going to say is, I fucked up
Mhm.
and I'm sorry. And I did something not understanding the full scope of what that could have done to Faith Stowers. I didn't know.
Mhm.
And that was ignorance on my part. And so now moving forward, I'm not going to engage in behavior like that anymore. I don't want to be that person, which was a great stance. And then she sort of went dark for a while. And then she came out with a book and she did it a very noble way. You know,
Mhm.
whether people like her or not, she did it in a way that like brought her back. And she is back, guys, because she has a whole docu-comedy series coming out on Hulu. So the woman is back. She also just launched a new book. She's coming out with another new book. I'm sure this one is also going to be a New York Times bestseller. She has like a cult following. I went to one of her podcast shows. She fills a room. But I think that it's all in the difference of how somebody handles it. And I think for Brandy, she is just not willing to be like, I fucked up in any capacity. I think it's more so like, why did I mess up now? When do you guys see him? He's sending me
Right.
videos like this. This is appropriate. Like it's one of those like nobody is going to cave in this. It's like Melissa and Teresa. We're not going to cave.
Right.
Both are right.
Well, and I think it gets really complicated, especially thinking of where Kenya Moore is right now, because they've done these stunts in the past. And she's like all of a sudden fired, but she's been doing these stunts for years on the Housewives of Atlanta. So it feels, I think the way that they perceive these things, the Brandys, the Kenyas, why now? Why have I been doing this on TV for 5, 10 years? I've been rewarded multiple times. Kenya's been on Dancing with the Stars. Brandy was on The Traitors. They get more and more opportunities. Both of them did Ultimate Girls Trips. Like they think they have the recipe. They have the recipe and they keep on making the product, and then all of a sudden the product's not selling anymore, and the product that they've been making is now getting them fired. I don't think it makes sense to them, but like at the same time, as viewers, aren't we doing a better job? Like as adults, like aren't we all growing and doing better and evolving in our lives? Like shouldn't we see some of that on our screens also, rather than Brandy just constantly like getting drunk and harassing people and assaulting people? From what we've seen, we didn't even see what happened with Caroline, but we saw her like remove Marco's shirt. We've seen her do really, really not okay things time and time again, nonetheless.
What does Brandy's future look like after this?
I worry about her. Like, I don't think she's like in a strong place mentally. That thing that you were talking about her, oh, here's my pose, click here for my clickbait. Like, she is literally taking money from any way she can. The clickbait things are out of control. I worry about her. She's got young kids. She's not come across as the most stable girl in the world. So, I mean, I hope she's okay. I think she's going through a lot, and I think her mental health is something that needs to be at the top of her priority list right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, speaking of mental health, in order to like kind of rein us in towards the end, we have this. Shannon
Ooh.
Beador, Alexis Bellino. Now, Shannon Beador has, if you guys have not seen, she is now claiming that, and I don't even think it's now claiming. I think she's been claiming this, but I think that she has to wait for certain episodes to come out on the show to really elaborate,
Mhm.
because the show was filmed a while back. But she is elaborating on the fact that she spent so much money on this man for such a long time. And in doing so, she thought when he gifted her, in her opinion, her mind, the $75,000 in two separate installments, one for a facelift and one for whatever else, that it was his way of paying her back. Well, she was recently asked about Tamra Judge and also about Alexis Bellino. Will you ever be friends with somebody like Alexis Bellino? And she's like, no, I won't be friends with Alexis Bellino. I have nothing in common with her. I don't like her. And then she said, you know who I want back? Gretchen Rossi. Want to know why? Because she would light a fire under Tamra's ass.
That would be
What are
a
your thoughts?
wonderful. Oh, I love it. I miss the old OC girls. I miss the times of housewives when like this job as being housewives wasn't their entire universe. Do you remember? That reminds me of Jenna Keogh. Like she just left the show because it stopped being fun. She didn't need it anymore. She never needed it. And if it's not fun, like why do it? I don't blame Shannon for not wanting to work with Alexia. Why on earth would she ever want to do that? Alexia has been nothing but cruel and mean-spirited, and Tamra's been awful to her and just a terrible friend. I am Team Shannon all day, every day. I'm very upset about the way that this is playing out with the extortion. Can we call this what it is? It's extortion. And like, who counts pennies like that? Like, I feel like Shannon and John's relationship at the time wasn't like micromanaging money. So like now that he's in a new relationship, all of a sudden he's going to go back and like change all of his opinions that he had with Shannon. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. I feel like, oh man, I honestly, I think that if Alexis brings out the videos at the reunion, I think that she thinks she's going to be making like this big splash. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Bravo using her for a moment. And I don't think she's going to be asked back as a friend of. I think she's going to be Taylor Armstrong with a one and done season. And I think that she's going to feel like a moron. And I think that even now she's done interviews looking at herself, the way that she is edited to be Johnny J, sexed 4 times a day, this, and, you know, Shannon, and we can't stand her. And if she really wants to know, but I want to be friends with her, but I got videos on her, but I want to be friends with her, but I got receipts. And I know that money was wired transferred, and I'll show you guys, but I want to be friends with her. It's like, you are giving me whiplash, girl. Whiplash.
She hasn't contributed anything. All we've heard is her going on about Johnny J. And I don't think anybody in the cast cares. I don't think anybody in the audience cares. We are not signed up for Johnny J. This is not the Johnny J show. It's time to move on. She's not, you know what? It could have been great. This could have been a great season with her. She dropped the ball. This is all on her.
She dropped the ball. Shit.
Yeah. And you know, something I wanted to say about OC, you and I were talking about Emily I think on Friday, and how it feels like she's not quite been herself, and maybe she's been a little bit more performative now that she's been with Tamra. I have to say, I caught maybe a few minutes, like when I was cleaning or whatever, of the most recent episode. And I do love how Emily has showed up for Shannon this year. Like, first of all, Gina could have been completely awful to Shannon after the way Shannon talked to her about her DUI. But Gina, being a grown-ass woman, said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to kick this woman while she's down. I can probably relate to her more than anybody here. I'm going to be there for her, which I thought was so wonderful on Gina's part. And then Emily too, she's really shown up for Shannon this season. And I really appreciate that, especially since Tamra has been so awful to her.
Okay, so I'm going to play a clip. But before I play the clip, I want you guys in the live chat to remember that I think it was at the DirecTV party that Emily, I always want to say D. Baker, but Simpson. Emily Simpson said that she would love to see what happens if Alexis comes and see pretty much not word for word verbatim, but Shannon crumble. But now she's taken a new approach. I'm going to play this for you guys really quick. Thank you to Bywig. Hello, drama. Let's take a look.
Point, because when Alexis was like, I want to be friends with Shannon, you were like, well, you can't come here with receipts if you want to be friends with somebody.
Right.
Where do you think do you really think Alexis wanted to be friends with Shannon?
You know, that's the thing with Alexis, and I think that was what was bothering me, was I never had a problem with Alexis being with John.
Yeah.
And then the first group outing we went to, which was Heather's party at the Balboa Bay Club, I actually rode there with Alexis, and I felt like on the way there she was very reasonable. She was like, I don't want to fight with Shannon, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be in a bad place with her. And I was like, okay, well, that's a mature, you know, aspect. That's, you know, but then we get there and it's like she says one thing, but then she acts completely different. She'll say, I want to be friends, but then she'll humiliate her. She'll say, I just want to get along with this woman, but then she'll constantly talk about John in front of her. And it's like, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Do you feel like it was like mean at times? Do you think she meant to be mean?
Yeah. I mean, when you show up at a dinner and there are a bunch of people there and you have copies of receipts,
Right.
there's nothing else except
Yeah.
you were just trying to humiliate her.
Yeah. Do you feel like John is the term that we always use with him, love bombing her?
You know,
I'm going to stop it right there. But yes, I also want to kind of add to this too, just a different perspective. Tamara obviously is against Shannon, but Emily has joined Tamara and Teddy's little slew of podcasts on her iHeartRadio podcast platform, where it's popping off or something like that. I don't know,
Yes.
with Teddy. And she has a very different opinion. Thought.
I can't keep up with all these podcasts. Like, I mean, good for Tamara. How many podcasts does this woman have right now? There's a lot going on. I mean, there's the Emily
5 or
Simpson
6
one.
under her umbrella.
Yeah, well, good for her. What was your question? I'm sorry. I'm just like doing the math in my head about how many podcasts this woman has. She's banking.
I guess I think more so my question is like, Emily has a very different opinion than Tamara. Do you think that that's going to affect the relationship of Emily working on Tamara's podcast network?
I hope not. I don't think Tamara is a person to have like yes men around. I would hope that Tamara, being that she's so combative with others, that other people can stand up to her and come with a different opinion and should be able to listen. I think it would be a huge mistake if Tamara left Emily behind because of a different opinion. I think the difference of opinions makes it interesting. And I think Tamara knows that. I think Tamara is very good at what she does, and she knows how to work these things. And I think the fact that they're not on the same page will lend well to their show. Plus there's more representation for the people in the audience, because the audience is going to be divided. So at least everybody in the audience will have somebody that they can, maybe connect with a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Oh, shit. All
Took
right,
me a
guys.
little while to get there, but I got there.
No, listen, guys. Happy Monday. Happy Hot Messy Topics Monday, especially. We're about to tell you exactly where you can find Ashley and tasteofreality.com. But I did want to show you guys, anywhere you get your podcast. If you go to Up and Adam, you can go see the Salty Podcast episode 1, how it all started. That is Monica and I. We dropped that today. And we're going to be, I think, talking a little bit more and more about what's going on behind the scenes. I don't really know where it's going to go, but even in this episode, if you guys go and watch it, like we were talking and she's like, this is my opinion. And I'm like, Monica, I'm talking. And she's like, shut the f up. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. No, I'm not going to shut the f up. You shut the f up. And I don't know why. I think it's because I grew up with so many sisters. I'm like used to being like bullied around by women. And I'm like, it's okay. I got this. But I don't feel bullied by Monica either, by the way. I'm really, really excited about the collaboration. If you guys don't know, Ashley is about to let you know where you can find her, starting with her Instagram.
All right. This is our Instagram, taste_of_reality. We've had a little drama here on the gram recently with Tamara, who we were just talking about. She slid into our comment section and yelled at us, all caps. I do take that as yelling. She didn't like something that we posted. It was literally verbatim of what she said. So take that as you may. She's like, she literally screamed, I didn't say that. And I went back and I listened to what she said and to what I typed, and it's exactly what she said. So you never know what you're going to see on the Instagram. Also, I'm the one who does most of the writing at the website, www.tasteofreality.com. We do all the celebrity news, gossip. Right there, you'll see the discussion posts we do for Big Brother, 90 Day Fiance, all the Bravo shows. Join us in the comment section of these posts, the tasters /tasties /connoisseurs /taste buds. We're working on a name. The working name is in progress, but we cover more than just Bravo. We get a little bit everywhere. So there's some variety. Oh, Vicky, and we hope you're okay, Vicky. She went through yet another health scare recently.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, take care of yourself. I mean, honestly, stop working so much. You're working too much. You're literally going to kill yourself, Vicky. Take some time off.
Take some time off. Oif. All right. Well, I see where some of you guys are saying, I can't find Salty Podcast. Guys, so the podcast, what's Adam's new podcast called? It's called The Salty Podcast. You can go anywhere you find your podcast. Just look up and Adam. It is like an extension of Up and Adam podcast right now until we figure out an actual home for it. That's something that Monica and I want to do together. But yeah, as of right now, it's going to be an extension of Up and Adam. And I thought that that was the best way to do it. So we will be posting links for you. Absolutely. Now with that, Ashley, as always, thank you.
You know, I love you. And I love the Addams family too. You guys are the best.
My God. And yes, by the way, we were Adam's Apples, Adam's Angels, and then the Adams family. So I get it. I get it on the names. When people were like, we're the Adams Apples. I was like, please stop. Stop that madness right now.
Funny. I just love that they care and they like it's just such and I love your community too. I mean, I like to think that I'm part of your community as a fan of your show, but like I feel that like the people in our community are very good about being great and kind and respectful to each other even when they disagree. But you know what? The reality TV talent, it's their job. They're going to take the brunt of our snark, and that's okay.
That's okay. Wait. All right, guys. Smash the like button, show some love. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Monday. We will be back on Friday for another round of hot, messy topics. And then I will be posting a few of the Salty Podcast episodes this week. We'll see what happens. There's over 150 Bravo celebrities, you guys. We have OC this week. We have Dubai this week. We have multiple different shows. We have also a few other housewife shows coming out. So we have a lot to discuss. And every time we turn around, somebody's going to court. Somebody's getting a DUI. Somebody's getting a domestic violence. Somebody's losing their child. Somebody is going into debt and the IRS is taking their home. It doesn't stop.
And it's Monday. It's just Monday.
It's just Monday. People ask me all the time. They're like, how do you keep on with the content? Monica said, you always work, like you do so many videos a day. I'm like, Monica, you don't even understand, girl. There is so much shit that hits the fan. Like sometimes that's why I had to create a second channel. If there wasn't enough content, I would have stayed with Up and Adam Channel 1. I had to create Up and Adam Channel 2 because YouTube has an algorithm and I had to make sure that you guys could get all of the content. So,
ooh, interesting.
But all right.
That damn algorithm.
That damn algorithm. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Happy Monday. Love you guys.